Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Vishwam Darpana Dishyamana Nagari Tulyam Nijantargatam Pashyan Atmani Mayaya Bahiribodh Bhutam Yatha Nidraya Yasakshat Kurute Prabodha Samaye Swatmanamevadvayam Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namaidam Shri Dakshina Murtaye. Bhagavate Dakshina Murtaye Mahyam Shyam Medham Pragyam Prayachya Swaha. Okay, there it is. So today, as we had mentioned yesterday, is going to be a more advanced teaching of Vedanta, something more profound and leading to some instructions and some concepts for looking at your true Advaita nature, not your Dvaita nature. So this is the objective. So I want to start with, yesterday I congratulated you all on the fact that you are keeping the flame of this inquiry alive by coming here. It very shows that you are, because, you know, as the Bhagavad Gita says, that the Jnana Agni alone will burn away your sense of problems of life. That alone is really what is necessary. And so to have you keep that flame alive and to inflame that fire is a very important thing, and I congratulate you all. If I may, let me start today with somewhat of an admonition rather than a congratulation in preparation for this advanced thing. So for that, this is what I was just looking for. Let me cite on your page 20, page 20, item number 20, the Mundaka Upanishad, verse number 323. न अयम आत्मा प्रवचनेन लभ्यः न मेधया न बहुना श्रुतेन यम एव एष वृणुते तेन लभ्यः तस्य एव आत्मा विवृणुते तनुम स्वाम. You may have heard this mantra before, but if you haven't, it is worth studying. And it, again, as in my life also, it takes a while for you. You know, these mantras have a lot of hidden meanings that have to be brought out by the teacher in the teaching. And it takes a while for that hidden meaning to come out. It took me a while also to appreciate this, because in the beginning you say, you know, here look at this, the English translation. The self is neither gained by mere recitation of Vedas, nor by mere memory, nor by merely study of many disciplines of knowledge. for repeated listening to Vedanta without the right teacher, all those kinds of things. The person who chooses to know the self gains it, then the self reveals its nature to the person. So you look at it and say, yeah, okay, I understand the meaning. Now, what does it really mean? What is the aparoksha meaning of this? So I just want to start the day today with that. And it is tied to what I talked about yesterday, which is, in order for you to attain the ultimate goal of everyone in this life, remember, all 8 billion people, if we need to have that ambition, if we are that ambitious that we want to really gain total freedom, fulfillment, if that's our goal. If not, then it doesn't matter. You can go anywhere, do anything. That requires a confluence of number of things that help you. Starting with, as you mentioned, Ishvara Kripa, then Shastra Kripa, then Guru Kripa, finally Atma Kripa. So this verse is talking about Atma Kripa. What does Atma Kripa mean? What do you mean by that? Blessing of myself? How is that? So I want to spend a few minutes discussing that as a prelude to the more serious, more profound aspect of the teaching, which we will do today. So here's what it says. Instead of just reading you already know the English meaning and so on, so I will dispense with that, just give you the concepts behind it. Somehow the feeling is that if I just study enough and listen to many classes and know about the Bhagavad Gita, you recite verses. I see a number of people who say, I'm very proud of it, I'm reciting Bhagavad Gita, I can memorize this, I can do this. Then many people study the Upanishads, some people even study the Brahma Sutra, all those kinds of things that you do. And then you say, I'm slowly studying, I'm slowly getting better, more knowledgeable, and so on. You have to ask yourself, is it delivering the results that you expect? And if it is, then wonderful. If it isn't, why not? This is what you have to ask. Because none of this is really casual or incidental, or it's something very profound. It's interesting, I'll just go back to this word called sampradaya. Yes, sampradaya is a very interesting word. Then I'll go back to it. I have to do two things. So the word sampradaya normally means, which is a wrong definition. Even it took me a while to really understand that. Normally means a certain discipline that we are following. We all say Advaita Vedanta Sampradaya. We are not doing Ramanujan's Vishishta Advaita. That's a separate Sampradaya. And of course the other ones, Sankhya Sampradaya, Buddhist Sampradaya, etc., etc. Meditation Sampradaya. Meditation Sampradaya is now becoming a very big thing. Everybody wants to do meditation, mindfulness. That's a sampradaya. And so then you can ask yourself, what sampradaya do you belong to? Advaita Sampradaya. And you start feeling that this is my way. It isn't quite like that. The sampradaya means samyak prakrishtam daya iti sampradaya. Swami Akhandananda explains this in one of the books very well. He says, Samyak Prakrishtadaya means one which is very well done, complete, and cannot be any better than that. Prakrishta. Samyak and Prakrishta, there are two superlatives used with Daya. Daya means one which is, Daya is a very interesting word. And it is tied to this Mundaka Upanishad that I'm going to cite in a minute. Daya means your right. You deserve it. It is yours. That's what the true meaning. He explains it. Don't listen to me. This is Swami Khandananda's talking. So he says, Daya means, he says it's something like, some property that has been left for you by your forefathers, which is yours. And you just now have to claim it. That's it. Claiming can take some problems. You have to fight with your brothers and sisters. This house is mine. No, this house is ours, and so on. But it is yours. It's because your mom and dad have already left it to you. And so this is the meaning of the word Daya. Daya means it's yours. You have a right to it. Sampradaya means this is your right. It's yours. And he makes a very interesting point. He says, do you know something? Sampradaya is the same Vidya that Sri Rama had. He obtained it from Vasishta. It's the same Vidya that Krishna has. It's the same Vidya that Brahmaji was given by Ishvara. The same Vidya that Hiranyagarbha was given. Same Vidya. Just exactly what we are talking about. Not any more different. This is what Swami Dayanand used to say. Sometimes you feel like, Krama Mukti. Krama Mukti means that if you really do some good things and you go to the first stage of Swargaloka, then you go to the second. This is all given in the Taittiriya Upanishad. Finally, and in all of these lokas, you are not given these instructions because you're having too much fun. It's like going to Hawaii. Nobody studies in Hawaii. And I think I told you this. Swami Dayanand had given a number of satsangs and so on around the world. He was telling us this. So we had a student who passed away recently, actually. Very interesting thing. Just 2 days ago, her name is Kalyani. I forget her Saralananda or I forget her Diksha name. Anyway, she was one of the original students of Swami Dayanandji. She passed away a few years ago. A couple of days ago, I got a phone call from this lady called Kerry. Pami, remember you got this phone call that you told me, Kerry, today. So Kerry called me a couple of days ago and said, I have a question for you. I said, yes. She says, I got your name from the ashram and I thought you might know. So I said, what is the question? She says, Kalyani left all her clothes with me and books. The books I have given away. She has all these orange-colored clothes. What do I do with them? And I said, frankly, I have never thought about it, but I have an idea. What do you think you should do? She says, here's what I want to do. I want to do a puja and a havan and consecrate it all to the fire. I said, Kerry, right idea. Do that. Because who are you going to give the orange clothes to? You cannot give it to another Swami. You cannot give it to the homeless people. They're not going to wear it. Remember all Swami Dayanandji and Viditatmanandaji, when they all come in, they all have a new customs agent. So they'll say, have you anything to declare? And say, no, okay, can I look at it? And so on. So they look at it and say, boy, you really love the orange color, don't you? Anyway, going back to the story about Swami Dayanandji, Kalyani was one of his students and she is from Hawaii. She's from Hawaii, she used to live there. So we invited Swamiji for a talk. Swamiji says, I have given so many talks in my life, and I find most of the people are attentive, except for this one place. He says, first of all, and this is, I think, this is an issue I'm going to just talk to you about. Yesterday, there were 90 people that registered. 20 people didn't show up. You know, we had all this extra food. I don't know what to talk to them. They just take it too lightly. Maybe I'll have to think about some other ways to do that. Anyways, what Swamiji said was, I asked Kalyani, how many people do you think are going to come? She says, oh, I'm expecting like 15, 20 people. Swamiji said, oh, that's a good number, wonderful. 5 people showed up. And in a few minutes, they were all looking at their watch that I have to go surfing. So please finish this talk very quickly. Swamiji said, I totally failed on that. I could not even get that. So this is the situation. You need to adjust something?
Some humming is coming.
Oh. I wasn't even aware of it until you pointed that out. Yeah. Isn't that how mind functions very strangely? Really. Yeah, the mind over matter, really sometimes you have these, sounds that you're not even aware of. Anyway. You'll soon get over it. So, let's go back to this verse. It says you can study, chant, listen to any number of classes for the whole life, but until you say, this is important for me. So there's a very beautiful word here. Yam eva esha vrinute. This vrinute verb is a very important one. You know what that is? You know the marriage of Rama and Sita. It's called Swayamvaram. The word Swayamvaram, I'm not an expert in Mahabharata, but I am told, what I remember is that it was Sita choosing Rama, because he had to lift, Indradhanush, and she said, whoever is able to do that, I will marry you. Usually this is what happens. The Indian who come to the USA, they are in hot demand. So they are very eligible bachelors. So when they go back to India, then the mothers line up a number of women for them to marry. And so this guy, I don't know what they do. I never had to do that because my mother wrote to me about this. I also had the same thing. I was an engineer with IBM, and my mother wrote to me that we have found a very good girl. And my sister also wrote me a letter and saying, she is hot, or something like that. She didn't use that word. But so that was a very convincing thing, because your mother can say anything, but if your own sister, who was very same person, she also wrote to me. They were all surprised. I said, okay. They said, but aren't you going to choose? I said, you've already told me. That's it. That's all I need. So that was a different for me. But otherwise, when people go to India, they have 4 or 5 women. And then you have, I don't know, they do an interview or what they do, or they just look at them, or I have no idea how they choose. But they choose. Sita chose Rama. This is called Vrinute. And the other part of this is also very important. I'm leading up to something, the admonition that I talked about for you. And that is, once she chose him, that was it. Whether Ravana wanted to have fun with her, whatever it is, no. You know, this is very interesting. I think Swami Akhandananda pointed this out. He says, do you know how important marriage is in one's life? Do you have any idea? And especially the Indian system of marriage, which is absolutely the best. And there you don't just do it out of love or anything like this. Something is chosen. And it all comes from the Ishvara. Whether it's a bad choice or a good, bad choices are also is done by Ishvara. There's a story in Swami Maheshananji had give this story. So there was a guy who, this is a Greek story. This guy went to this Greek Mahatma, some Greeks, not Mahatma, but whatever, some sage, and said, sir, I have a question for you. I'm thinking whether I should get married or not. What do you think? He says, get married. He says, why do you say that? He said, if you get married and your marriage is happy, that's a wonderful thing. If your marriage is not happy, you will turn to God, and that is also a wonderful thing. So Vrinute means once you get married, so this is what Swami Akhandananda pointed out. He says, do you know how important marriage is? Because your mind, you know, people that are confirmed bachelors and they keep on dating, I think I'll date this person, no, I'll date this person. Their mind is just going back and forth, that they cannot decide. You just decide and stay with the person. Because there's a lot of growth that has to happen. It's not all honeymoon. You have to understand how problems have to be. This is the real meaning of marriage. You stay with a person. So therefore, Sita said, Varna means this is the person. Now, this is the job for you. He says, Na ayam atma pravachanena labhyaha, na medhaya, na bahuna shrutena. What? I've been doing all this, I've been doing bahuna shrutena, I've been doing this, that or the other. Yameva esha vrinute, tena labhyaha, tasya eva atma vivrinute. Vivrinute means to reveals its true nature. The revelation of the truth. Because otherwise, you have a kind of a rough idea, you know, there is an Atma and that is Viveka from an Atma. You can talk about that and so on. That is not the depth of it. That's just on the surface. We will try to go into the little depth, but even that, just in 2-3 hours, we can't do this. It takes much more than that. But what it means is, you have to choose. And I would say that if this is only one of the things that you're doing, you're dating. You're not married to it. If you want to get married to Sampradaya, you have to choose in your own mind. It's your choice. If you don't want to get married, that's perfectly okay. You can go to, I see this all the time. I come to the class, but then I have a family commitment. Then I missed this class, and then I'll come back tomorrow. This is not a sign of the fact that you are serious. Nothing is going to happen. If you don't drop everything else and make this as your top priority, you're wasting your time. You're not completely wasting, at least you're keeping some things alive. And from my students, I get this all the time. My husband wants to go on a trip. What do? I don't want to do it, but I have to do it. You go on a trip, we waste 2 weeks, and then another trip comes up, and then marriages and so on and so forth. So then you have to decide what is really necessary. You do that. But when it is your choice, and if you cannot do it, that's okay too, but don't complain, nothing is happening. I've been studying Vedanta for 15 years and so on, and I'm still the same. You'll remain the same. Anyway, admin. Yesterday I said congratulations. Today I will say with an admonition. And don't take my word for it, take Bhagavad Gita's word for it. Yan eva vrinute tasya. You can look at it this way. You can date a number of people, but you cannot get intimate with them until you get married. Vivrinute means you open up your secrets. This is what Vedanta is. You make the choice. Okay, now let's start the teaching. So very briefly, a summary of what we did yesterday, and then we will go ahead. Okay? You already know this, and I'm sure you remember this, but just in case. What we said was, there is such a thing as, partial fulfillment, and a thing called total fulfillment. And partial fulfillment we are doing every day without knowing this. We try a number of things, bhoga, dharma, karma, etc., etc. Total fulfillment is a different thing altogether. Somehow our feeling is, this is what happens. It says bad mathematics, really. Bad mathematics. Bad mathematics means if I keep on doing these things, somehow I'll be okay at the end. Because your goal is total fulfillment. You're not going to rest until you have total fulfillment. That's your nature. Your nature is not partial fulfillment. Your own Purusha, your own Siddha Purusha is you are Satyam Jnanam Anantam, Satchidananda, total fulfillment. That's your nature. You cannot rest until you get there. But your calculations are wrong. The method is wrong. Somehow you feel that if I keep doing things, I will reach. It's not going to happen. It's just like saying if I just add on numbers, I will become infinity. Bad mathematics. So then we saw yesterday, this is all from revision from yesterday, you should understand what is infinity. You are infinity. Because if you are not infinity, you are misdefining infinity. You see this? This is an important thing to see. If you're not part of the infinity. What is it? What is this sampradaya? Zarina, what are the people that we go when we stay at their place? Brahmakumari. Brahmakumari, this sampradaya is very interesting. We are all parts of Ishvara. This is what they say. We all are parts, and I'm very happy to be a part. So, in Vedanta we say, let's ask a question. Is a wave of an ocean a part of the ocean? In fact, just the analysis of the wave of the ocean, just the example of the ocean and the waviness in it is very revealing. Extremely, it's not a simple example. Just think of it. I'll just give you one aspect of it. The wave is not a part of the ocean. You might say it's an expression of the ocean, an aspect of the ocean. You can use the English words like that. Go ahead and do that, but not a part of the ocean. Because a part means, just a part means building a house. You start with a brick or whatever, wood, and then another wood, and another wood. Those are all parts of the ocean. So this is what is called building up the whole from the bottom up. In ocean, it's the other way around. It's the total thing that expresses from the top to the bottom. There's no real bottom like a house, but it's an aspect. So now we can ask you a question. This is a very important question. If you look at a wave, is this different from the ocean? Because you can say it's different from the name Pacific Ocean. You can say that. That's okay. There is a name called Pacific Ocean or Atlantic Ocean, which has some boundaries, but it's huge. It's just an arbitrary thing. Okay, this we are going to call Indian Ocean. This is what the problem is. The Chinese want to claim this not as an Indian Ocean, but as Chinese Ocean. The biggest problem. They are just, taking over the Arunachalam. They are giving them Chinese names. This is ours. Anyway, that's a separate thing. So you have a complete ocean, and then you have a wave. So there are two different names given. That's okay. But let's look at the reality of it. Is the reality of a wave different from the reality of the entire ocean? It isn't. Well, you know what that means? This is very advanced stuff. I'm telling you, this is what we have to grapple with. You are, this is what Swami Akhandananda was saying, that sometimes you just say it as it is, even though you haven't really revealed all the aspects of it. But say it, because that gives you an idea of what we have to do. He says, the human being is not just a human being. Any given individual called Jiva is not just a Jiva. In reality, it is not talking about it or anything like this. You know what the Jiva is? It is the entire cosmos. What? I am just this. How can I be the entire cosmos? I already told you the answer. You figure it out now. So, it is a fact. And if you want, I can give you some hints for it, but all of it will not be clear until you and I spend more time on it. So, but let me just tell you something. This is the fact. And this can even be thought of as sacrilegious. Sacrilegious. Inside your mind is the everything in the cosmos, including Brahma, Vishnu, Rudra, Shiva, Ishvara. You say, what? This guy is talking nonsense. I may be talking nonsense, but Swami Akhandananda is not. And I am also not. All these are thoughts in your mind. All of these. The difference between Jiva and Ishvara. The difference between Hindu and Muslim. About all these are thoughts. They have no reality whatsoever. You are the reality. So the feeling that I'm just a wave is a thought. You are the whole ocean, and at least the ocean is limited, but you are the entire cosmos. This is Advaita. Advaita means there is nothing other than you. You have to understand that. This is how ambitious we have to be. This is the sampradaya. This is my right. This is the same right that all the Mahapurushas in the world have had. And it is yours. Because Rama, Krishna, all these were nothing but waves of the ocean. Same ocean. Brahma is the same ocean. Brahman is that, that's it. I am Satchidananda. There's nothing else there is. But we have to start somewhere because this is too big. I can't really swallow it. So this is what we have to do. But this is a fact. So what it means is, this is infinity. This is total fulfillment. So eventually, everything has to go. You have to see, and this we will revisit in the next few hours in a little bit different ways, so you get some fodder for this enormous idea, but the enormous fact that there is no reality other than you. Sat Swarupam. I was saving this to the end, but I am now, since I've talked about this and broached this subject, I might as well bring that up. This is such an important analysis given by Swami Akhandananda in his Brahma Sutra Bhashya book that I've been studying, that it made such clarity in my mind, I cannot believe it. And let me just tell it to you. Okay, I haven't even given you all the facts and so on, but at least let me just tell you that. Tattvamasi. This is the Mahavakya. So the Mahavakya, Ayam Atma Brahma, Tattvamasi, etc. All these, there are so many Mahavakyas, not just 4 or 5, but so many Mahavakyas. That Advaita Makaranda, Aham Asmi Sada Bhami, Kadachit Naham Apriya, Brahma Eva Aham Siddham Satchidananda. Lakshmi is a Mahavakya. This is a Mahavakya. Tattvamasi is a Mahavakya. What Swamiji had said about how what means was just mind-boggling to me. So let me just tell you, even though I haven't really given you all the thing. What does Tat and Tvam mean? Tat means, you can call it Brahman or you can call it Ishvara. And so both are the same. Brahman is the content of Ishvara, and Ishvara is a name given of the role of a person that has to run the show. Run the show. And this will be I have a section coming up on the form of Ishvara and how to think about Ishvara. That we'll do later on. But just for now, Tat means that. The English word that comes from the word Tat. It's the same word. What does that mean? It's not this. It is that. It means it is remote, not right here. Okay? In fact, let me, the way I'm doing it, I'm just bringing all these things. So there are, the reality comes to us in three ways. One is called Pratyaksha. Pratyaksha means something that I can see right in front of me. I can see it, I can touch it, I can feel it. This whole thing is Pratyaksha. Then the second one is Paroksha. Paroksha means I don't see it, but it's there. That there is an election being fought, we are very aware of that, but how it is actually being done, I don't see it. It's there. Paroksha. And the whole world is Paroksha. I'll hold off in that. So that's Paroksha. Then there is a third level of reality, third way of looking at reality, not a level, but third way of looking at reality is aparoksha. This is a very interesting and a very carefully defined word in Sanskritam called aparoksha. Okay? So what it means is, so before I go to aparoksha, you can say, my life is one of those two. Either it is pratyaksha or paroksha. And paroksha is subject to become pratyaksha. Supposing you want to really find out what's happening in Washington, D.C., you can go to Washington, D.C. That becomes pratyaksha. So you think that the whole world is just one of these two. From a standpoint of an individual, pratyaksha and paroksha. Pratyaksha and paroksha. There is a third one, which is called aparoksha. And aparoksha means it is neither pratyaksha nor paroksha. It is called not paroksha, not remote. That is the meaning of the word aparoksha. Okay? So now that we know these three ways of looking at it, now let us look at Tattvamasi. Okay? So again, going back to the meaning of the three words, Tat, Tvam and Asi. The word Tat means, what does Tat mean? That. And that means what? Paroksha. So you can say this is pratyaksha and that means paroksha, right? So now if we look at our idea of what God is, our idea of what Brahma is, our idea of what all the things that you talk about, Brahma, Vishnu, Rudra, all the things that we talk about, this is all they are not pratyaksha, obviously. So they must be paroksha. So Brahma also must be paroksha. Ishvara also must be paroksha. So the person who is really managing the whole show, who is responsible for you and I and how we are and so on and so forth, is also paroksha. The Mahavakya says no. 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 So then what? So it says, here are the possibilities. If you want to really get to the truth, here are the possibilities. One is, you always keep it as paroksha. This is what we're doing in our life. We don't have to do this, but this is exactly what we're doing. Have you ever heard of Ishvara? Yes, I've heard of Ishvara, but where is he? I don't know. I'm looking for, I'm finding it. And every time you go to the temple, every time you do yoga and so on, it's all paroksha, 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 paroksha. And you can keep it that way. All thing is, you can hope that one day, as we were just talking about, that I will be sitting very close to Vishnu. If you're sitting close to Vishnu, what will happen? He will become pratyaksha. Isn't it? He'll become pratyaksha. Pratyaksha has its own laws. You know what the laws of pratyaksha are. Pratyaksha means it comes and goes. Right? It's jada. It's inert. It may seem like it's moving, but it's not really moving. Like a dream. It's like a, motorized car that is running because of the gas or the electric now. But it'll stop. So pratyaksha has a lot of limitation. You want to put Vishnu in that kind of a manner? Because as we were saying yesterday, after a while, after listening to, watching Vishnu for 3 or 4 days, you'll say, what else is there? I'm now bored. I've seen Vishnu, it's a beautiful sight, wonderful person. But how long are you going to stay there? So you put God into pratyaksha. Do you understand the implications of that? Okay, so I understand. Okay, all right, so it's not paroksha. But he's there because I have enough shraddha. Because you can say, just last night I went to a social get-together, Diwali party. And I was sitting on a table of 5 or 6 people. And the usual talk. Is there God or not? And if there is God, why is He allowing all these problems? There must not be any God. Otherwise He would be there and He will protect us. So one person said, I don't think there is any God. It's all us. It's a stupidity to think about. Very happily, nobody asked me, what do you think? I'm very happy. I just kept my mouth shut. Just had some drinks. That's it. So you can just pretend there is nothing, it's all paroksha. But for those of us who say, no, that's not true, there must be there, I haven't figured it out yet, but it must be there. So look at the meaning of Tattvamasi. Tattvamasi means that has the following possibilities. I tell you, this is very important stuff. I'm just talking like this and so on and so forth, but the implications of this are just mind-boggling. That cannot be pratyaksha. That is there. You see, that is there for sure. We know there is Washington DC, even though I don't see it. It is there. But of course, Washington DC is only one place. Similarly, there is an entire cosmos that is there but not visible to me. The stars, billions of stars, billion times larger than us, are there. Just because I don't see it, they're there. So we know they're there. But where? Cannot be pratyaksha. I mean, the totality. Individual stars can be pratyaksha, but the totality cannot be pratyaksha. Can you guess what it means? Tat Tvamasi. There is only one place. There is no other place to go. No other place to go. Tat Brahman is no other than you. You can complain, I don't understand him. Fine, that's a different thing. We'll work on that. But the main thing is there is no other place. Where are you going to put Ishvara? Finally, you have to say, oh my God, I missed him. I have been missing it. I am not different. This is what we have to see. This is the true meaning of Tattvamasi. And it has to be understood very clearly. This is why I said yesterday that if you go away from these 2 days and not learn anything, the one thing you should not let go in your mind is the inquiry and a capture. I alone can be Sat. There is no place that can Sat be, because if it is someplace else, it is not here. That is not Sat. Alone the Sat is me. And in fact, you can see this. You cannot get rid of yourself, ever. You cannot disprove yourself. You can never have. This is even better. This is even better from what the way Swami Prabhupada wrote this in his book. This is all from learning from him. I mean, I had sort of, so I must say this, that in all my learning from Swami Dayanandji, Swami Chinmayanandji and so on, was really Paroksha Jnana. Paroksha Jnana. Swami Akhandananda really is converting that to a Paroksha Jnana. Because he says, listen, can you ever have an experience that I am not there? This is a very important thing, because that's all you need to know. If you don't study Vedanta, you don't study Upanishads and so on, that's okay. But it is important to see, can I ever have an experience that I am not there? And you don't have to prove. Doesn't require any proof. The only proof that it requires is that your mistaken notion that I am now may disappear later. That is the only thing that has to be disproved. But as you are today, the Vedanta doesn't reveal anything. It doesn't need to reveal anything. It is wrong to say that Shastra is a pramana for you. It is not. It is not a pramana. You don't need a pramana. I think Swami Dayananji had given this very beautiful example, even though I kind of understood it, but I hadn't quite grasped it. And he said, do you ever go to a doctor and say, you know, this is what you do, you go to a doctor. Nowadays, of course, the nurse comes in and she says, let me take your blood pressure. Let me take your weight and height. And this is the worst part. I am shrinking. I used to be 5'10.5". Then I got to be 5'10". Then now I'm 5'9.5". And I'm stretching myself. I don't like to be any less than what I am. She says, what can I do? This is all it shows. I'm not lying. Look at it. So she does all this. And, you know, can I take your blood pressure, this, that, or the other, your oxygen level, everything. Then she says, I just want to know, why are you here for? So you have to give a reason. Do you ever have to give a reason? I want to know if I am. She said, wait, let me put my hearing aid on. Did I hear this right? Can you say that one more time? Yeah, I want to see the doctor because I want to know if I am. She says, just a minute, I'll be right back. She goes to the doctor and says, I think he's in the wrong place. He has to go to a mental hospital. You don't need any proof from anyone. And it is incontrovertible. It is not something one day I think I am, the other day I think I'm not. Not possible. The only thing you can do is to say, I am not sure I was there before this life, or that I am not sure that I will be there after the life. There the pramanas have to be given. But that's only a secondary proof. The primary proof you don't need. Do you know this? If you can see this without any doubt, you're done. You are the only Sat. In fact, so much so that Brahman also is you. You and Brahman are one and the same. You and Ishvara, if you want to call it that, are exact. It is only Sat Swarupa alone. There is nothing else that needs to be done. No, but that cannot be that simple, you know, I have to study, and this is the thing. You, nahi gyane, you know, you do all this study and so on and so forth. This is a very interesting story. I have to tell you this. So, this is also from Swami Akhandananda. So he says that there was a guy who developed a very serious illness of some kind. He didn't really tell exactly what it is, but it's not important. Something really life-threatening, very bad. So he started looking around, and what should I do? And so somebody said, this is a rare disease, and it is available in the medicine is available in Russia. And so he's writing this in 1956 or 60 or something like that, when, you know, travel and all this was very difficult. But we were close to Russia at that time. And apparently it's a real story. from what he could tell. I'm not absolutely 100% certain, but the way he recites it. So somebody said, you have to get it for Russia. How do I get it from Russia? It's very difficult because, you cannot just mail a parcel. You have to get an export permit and so on. So he was well-to-do and he says, I'll do all of that. Absolutely. Then he was talking to a friend who was an Ayurveda specialist. So he said, oh my God, he's talking about this Ayurvedic medicine which was imported by Russia from us. It's right here. So he tells him, he says, you don't have to go to Russia. You just go to this Vaidya, just down the, in the town, I'll take you there. So he goes to the Vaidya. Vaidya says, yeah, this is absolutely true. This guy says, no. What is this Vaidya? No. He's got a dirty shop, he's not even clean, and he's got all these puriyas sitting there and so on and so forth. He says, I wanted to get it from Russia. This is what they say. It's nicely packaged and so on and so forth. Anyway, to cut a long story short, we have to go on. So much other to do. Finally, his friend conspired to pretend that he got it from the Vaidya, and he made a nice package for it. He went to the post office and said, can you please stamp it from Russia? So he said, okay, he paid him some money to do that. So finally he says, I've received it for you. And he really was cured. This is our situation. If I just tell you, you are Sat Swarupa, you know what you are likely to say? It sounds interesting, but what does this guy know? I have to go to some Mahatmas. I have to listen to Swami Paramarthananda, Swami Tattva Vidananda, whoever is available at this time. I have to listen to their classes, and this is not that easy to do, If that was easy, then they would have do that. Okay, you do it. And, I have to study. I have to learn Sanskrit now. This is another important thing. I'm not very good at Sanskrit. I have to learn Sanskrit. You take classes from Lisa and Kumud and doing all that. Keep on doing it. Lifetime is passing. Hey, I told you the truth. Why don't you look at the truth? No. This is our situation. You are the Sat, my dear. You are the same Sat. I'm not talking about you as a Jiva, but I'm talking about you as the Atma. You are the Sat Swarupa, not different from me. I'm also Sat Swarupa. Everybody is nothing but Sat Swarupa. Everybody is nothing. And this is Ishvara. This is Brahman, which is the same thing everywhere. I was reminded of a verse that where is it? This is a very nostalgic, sorry, I'm mixed up with all these things. Let me see. Where is the Bhagavad Gita? Finally found it. Yeah, this is on page 25, item number 54. Gita, chapter 7, verse number 7. Mattah parataram nanyat kinchidasti dhananjaya Mai sarvamidam protam sutre manigana eva Mattah parataram nasti kinchit nanyat kinchidasti dhananjaya Mai sarvamidam protam sutre manigana eva. I tell you, this is a very important verse for me personally. You know why? I told you that I got this Brahma Vidya from Swami Chinmayananji. June of 1973. I don't know the exact date. Lone Mountain College, 7th chapter of the Gita. When he chanted this and explained it, the whole thing flashed before me. What he's saying is, this is Ishvara talking, this is Krishna talking to Arjuna as the avatara of Vishnu, Ishvara. He says, Mattah parataram nasti yad kinchit mai sarvamidam protam sutre manigana eva. So this Satchidananda is the base of the whole creation. It is only one, it's like the water of all the waves. Infinite. Never changing, never born, never to die. This is the very basic nature, and that's you. If it is mattah parataram nasti, means there is nothing other than this. There is nothing more superior, nothing, you don't need to search for anything else. Sarve mai sarvamidam protam. So it's like saying, you know, I'm the very basis for everything is hanging like ornaments. I am the very gold of the ornaments. Where are we? 220. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I'm saying 220, but I'm looking at it as 1220. So 10 more minutes. So I think we'll probably not have not time for any meditation. We'll do that later. But let me wrap it up quickly and then leave some time for questions for this. And this, by the way, is exactly the same as the very important Kena Upanishad. Pratibodha viditam matam. Bodham, hopefully we will actually go into this in more detail, because this is as to see the Advaita, you will see this in more detail, that really everything is nothing but waves of me. I am so if you look at the Tattvamasi, don't think of it as you as a wave, as a jiva, but think of yourself as the very basis of who you are. And everything else is just based on that. You are it. Anyway, this is, I'm very nostalgic about this verse, because it goes back to my very first understanding of what Vedanta was. In a very, it still had a lot of doubts at that point, so I wasn't done, but as a glimpse of truth, this was very important for me. Anyway, we will continue this discussion. There's more that I need to do, but let me wrap it up for a minute, and for maybe 15 minutes until you have questions. We will continue, and then we will break for lunch. Om Asato Ma Satkamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya mrityorma amritam gamaya. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Okay, questions?
I'll take the mic to
Okay,
them.
thank you. Yes, there's a question right there.
I feel like this is a precious knowledge.
One second. Let me get the mic. Thank you, Vijay. I feel like this is such precious knowledge. I am the universe. It is all in me. I am the only reality. How could it be anything else? This is all we know is I am. That's really the only thing we truly know. And then you go on to say this is perfection, this is completeness. It's all me. So,
Oh, let me see.
What should I do? Well, I can just say this. So the rest of my question is, when you say it and lay it out so logically and perfectly, it makes utter sense. This is fullness and this is completion. It makes sense. But then when I look at the world and I'm playing my role in the world, it's hard to grapple with that because it appears like there's such imperfection. That's the difficult part.
Yeah, this is a very common, reasonable, persistent question that everybody has. So you are not alone, and this is what we have to prove, that it is because of a misperception of what you are looking at. So I can this is a much more profound discussion, but a very simple way to depict this phenomena is again taking the example of the ocean and the wave, where there is a kind of like a guru wave that talks to this troubled wave, inquiring wave, and the inquiring wave says that I understand what you're saying, that I'm the whole ocean, but I see so many other waves that are impinging on me and the competition, and I'm just a small one, and I don't know what's going to happen to me, and they're bothering me, and they don't understand what I'm thinking or the other. What do you say to that? So the Guru wave says, well, listen, let them do what they want to, but you have to focus on the fact, the reason that you are feeling this way is because you are too focused on their forms and not the reality of who they are, which is you, the water. And so you have to simply dwell on the analysis of this, and it is understandable, the Guru wave says, very understandable, and this is what I say also, that it will happen. It is just your thinking of, in a way, this is, all these examples are given, and another example is like a dream, where the otherness in the dream appears very real, but upon waking up, there is no reality to the otherness of the other people in the dream. So the waking up in our sense is a complete understanding of what is going on, that this is really just like a dream. And when that happens, and it will happen, you will see that the so-called problems of others and so on and so forth are non-problems. So this is a short answer, but of course this is what we have to really work on.
So you kind of partly answered the question I had in my mind.
Okay, you're not coming on, so somehow it's not. Anyway.
Okay. So you kind of partly answered the question that I had.
Yeah, this is not working, so you can just no, just close it. It's not working. I think it has the same defect as yesterday, and it's not going to change. The battery does not really change anything. Just speak loudly so that I'll repeat it for others.
So I had you partly answered the question I had in my mind, which you very nicely explained how our existence and ourselves is the entire universe. I am the entire universe, the entire cosmos, because I am is all I know, right? But then there are others which you explained that are more like forms, but to then leave that form and see myself in others and others in myself. How do I make that happen so that I see everybody, reflect myself in everybody, and that we're all the same except for the forms?
Yeah.
That's kind of
So her question is that even though our assertion that I am the entire cosmos is acceptable, at least in its initial form, but then how do I see myself as being in others and the others are in me, and how do I make that equality in my mind and so on. So Rani, this is the same question as the previous questioner also asked. It's exactly the same thing, and the way to do that is not, so I would say there are two stages of this, if I could answer that particular question. Two stages of that understanding, okay? One is a relative and the other one is an absolute. The relative can be done through some karma, bhakti, dharma, and so on. That means you don't have to fight with people. You don't have to create any conflicts with others. In fact, as you study, you will find that the conflicts and problems with others will diminish by themselves, but not go away completely. The complete going away will be when you understand yourself. And that is, you don't worry about anybody else. A lot of the issues that you have, not you, but all of us that we have, is because we don't completely understand what I am. The fact that I am the Sat is not understood. Not understood. This is a very important thing because all the acharyas say this, that we feel we understand what it is. We understand this. This is something I'll discuss in more detail. We'll give you a quick answer. A lot of the ways we say is, I know Vedanta. What is a big thing? I'm not a big thing, but I know Vedanta. I know I'm Atma and so on and so forth. But how do I understand what's going on? People are away from me and so on and so forth. And I remember this. In fact, I saw this only about 2-3 weeks ago, and in the same book that I'm studying, Swami Akhandananda. And this is exactly what Swami Dayanandaji also used to say. You don't understand. You think you know it, but you really don't understand. So it is not a question. This is actually there's a discussion on this which I'll come to. there is a question. After the Vedanta, Atma Jnanam, is there something else that is necessary? This is a very big question. And not just you and I. I mean, if you look at all the scholars in India, and there's so many other people who are confused about this, say, yes, you do Jnanam first, then you have to start meditating. The Advaita Sampradaya of Adi Shankara says, no. What it means is you haven't understood. There is no need to meditate. You have to go back to Shravanam Mananam again. Your Nididhyasanam is faulty. There is no need to do anything. You don't have to see yourself in others. This is not a action that you have to take. It's just that you have not really understood. You think, and that is even worse, because you think, no, I've understood. I'm not going to inquire anything more. Now I want to apply it in my life. You cannot apply yourself in the... As long as you're applying, that means you are still a wave of the ocean. You don't understand you are the whole ocean. Very big discussion. So, yeah, well, that's basically what... I think that we are all hungry. And we are not going to spend any more time on this. We'll come back to it. Is it 2 o'clock again? Is it?
Yeah.
2 o'clock? Okay. All right. Okay, so I'll see you later. 2:15? Okay. It's only 12:30. You know what? Can we get together at 2 o'clock? Because let's not spend that much time, because we'll be more time for doing that. We still have an hour and a half.